Hello, students. Hope you all are doing good at your homes and also obeying your parents. Myself, Shubhangi Raja Solanki from Pratap World School, Pathankot. And today we are going to discuss the rest of the topics from the chapter Forest, Society, and Colonialism from your history book. So let's begin.
Rebellion in the forest. In many parts of India and the world, forest communities rebelled against the changes imposed on them. In India, Sidhu and Kanu of Santhal Parganas, Birsa Munda of Chota Nagpur, Alluri Sitaram Raju of Andhra Pradesh revolted against the new forest policy. They are still remembered today in many songs and stories. The people of Bastar. Bastar is located in southernmost part of Chhattisgarh and borders of Andhra Pradesh, Odisha and Maharashtra. The central part of Bastar is on a plateau. Chhattisgarh plain is in its north and Godavari plain is in its south India. The river Indravati flows across Bastar east to west. A number of different communities like Maria and Muria Gonds, Dhurvas, Batras, and Halwas live in Bastar. The people of Bastar speak different languages but share common customs and beliefs. The people believe that each village is given its land by earth and they look after the natural resources of their village. Further, they show respect to the spirit of river, forest, and mountain. The local people look after all the natural resources within their boundary. If people from a particular village want to take some wood from another village, they pay a small fee called devsari, dand or man in exchange. The fears of people. Proposal of the colonial government to reserve two-thirds of the forest in 1905 and stop shifting cultivation, hunting and collection of forest produce caused anxiety among the people of Bastar. Some villages were allowed to stay in the reserved forests on the condition that their people worked free for the forest department in cutting and transporting trees and protecting the forest from fires. These villages came to be known as forest villages. Some of the steps taken by colonial officials caused large scale displacement and suffering of the people. Two famine, one in 1899 to 1900 and another in 1907 to 1908, worsened the matter. The initiative to discuss these issues was taken by the Dhruvas of the Kangar forest, where reservation of the forest first took place. Gunjadhur from village Nidanar led the movement. In 1910, messages like mango box, a lump of earth, chilies, and arrows were circulated to invite villagers to rebel against the British. The rise of revolt. The people of Bastar organized themselves and revolted against the British. They attacked and looted houses, traders, police stations, schools, etc., which were associated with the colonial state and its oppressive laws. The grain was redistributed. The British troops controlled the revolt after 3 months, but not able to capture Gundadhar. After the revolt, work on reservation was temporarily suspended and the area to be reserved was reduced to roughly half of that planned before 1910. After independence, the same practice of keeping people out of the forests and reserving them for industrial use continued. In the 1970s, the World Bank proposed that 4,600 hectares of natural sal forests should be replaced by tropical pine to provide pulp for the paper industry. But after the protests by local environmentalists, the project was stopped. Next, we will study forest transformations in Java. There were many similarities in the laws for forest controls in India and Indonesia. Java is a famous rice producing island of Indonesia. In past years, it was mostly covered with forests. The colonial power in Indonesia were the Dutch, and they wanted timber from Java to build ships. The woodcutters of Java. The Kalangs of Java were a community of skilled forest cutters and shifting cultivators. Without their expertise, it would have been difficult to harvest teak and for the kings to build their palaces. When the Dutch began to gain control over the forest in the century, they tried to make the Kalangas work under them. In 1770, the Kalangs resisted by attacking a Dutch fort at Joanna, but the uprising was suppressed. Dutch scientific forestry. In the 19th century, the Dutch enacted forest laws in Java, restricting villagers' access to forests. This law permitted use of forest wood only for specified purposes from specific forest under close supervision. Villagers were punished for grazing cattle, transporting wood without a permit, or traveling on forest roads with horse, carts, or cattle. In 1882, 280,000 sleepers were exported from Java alone. Sleepers are the wooden planks laid across railway tracks. They hold the tracks in position. However, all this required labor to cut the trees, transport the logs, and prepare the sleepers. The Dutch first imposed rents on land being cultivated in the forest. It then exempted some villagers from these rents if the villagers worked collectively to provide free labor and buffaloes for cutting and transporting timber. This was known as the Blandongdiensten system. Later, instead of the rent exemption, forest villagers were given small wages, but their right to cultivate forest land was restricted. Java is the place where the Dutch began their scientific forestry. And Blandongian distant system was introduced by Dutch in Java, under which some villages were exempted from the taxes in terms of free labor and animals for cutting and transporting timber from forest. Salmon's challenge. Around 1890, Sorontico salmon of Randublanrang village, a teak forest village, started a movement against the steer ownership of the forest. By 1907, 3,000 families were following his ideas. Some of the Samanists protested by lying down on their land when the Dutch came to survey it, while others refused to pay taxes, fines, or perform labor. War and deforestation. The Allied power exploited the resources, mainly forests, and people of their colonies and won both the First and Second World War. Both these wars had a devastating effects on the forest of India and other colonies. In India, at this time, the forest department was cutting trees freely to meet British war needs. In Java, the Dutch followed a scorched earth policy just before the Japanese dominance. By following this policy, Dutch destroyed sawmills and burned huge piles of giant teak logs so that they would not fall into Japanese hands. The Japanese then exploited the forest recklessly for their own interest. This opportunity was used by many villagers to expand cultivation in the forest. After the war, it became difficult for the Indonesia Forest Service to get this land back. New developments in forestry. Since the 1980s, governments across Asia and Africa found their scientific forestry and the policy of keeping forest communities away from forests has resulted in many conflicts. Now, conservation of forest was more important than collecting timber. The government recognized that to conserve forest, the people who live near the forests must be involved in many cases across India. Forests have survived only because villagers protected them in sacred grove known as Sarnas, Devarakudu, Ken, Rai, etc. Some villagers have been patrolling their own forests instead of depending to the forest guards. Local forest communities and environmentalists now are thinking of different forms of forest management. Students, that's all for today. Thank you and have a nice day.